Different site, but the same goals. In today's video, I want to take you through the Outnet. This is another one of the Net-a-Porter Group outlet websites with really great deals. At the end of the day, the goal is the same, which is to find luxury below detail. Let's get started. The Outnet has a cleaner, nicer, more modern, and definitely more like Net-a-Porter look to it. Also in terms of how it communicates with its users, with the members. Everything is authentic, so similar to Yoox and similar to Net-a-Porter. It's of course discounted. Sometimes not as well as Yoox, sometimes a lot better than Yoox. And often you would find here end of season or previous collection items very similar again to Yoox. What they do stand out more for is that they are a lot more curated. I think in general you can just look at the offering here, at the designers, the way the website is generally structured. So they don't have as many brands as Yoox has, but these are definitely a lot more curated brands. The way I like to look at it is, first, I do really enjoy this cleaner look that it has. I also have to say I generally like the fact that there are fewer pieces for many of the common brands. At the same time, I don't use it for all brands because, for example, a lot of you know that I'm quite the Max Mara fanatic. And for example, there's barely any Max Mara items here. So if we search for Max Mara, you will find only 79 products basically, 96 it says here, whereas as I've shown you before in Yoox you would find over 2,000 sometimes, but the collection is pretty good. Like I said, the items are just more curated here, so that works really well. Some of the things I like to do is just search directly by brand, but I have to say that because they send me editorials and they send me emails a lot more frequently than Yoox, I do like to go and search based on some theme, for example. So you have the just in this month, then you have some edits. So depending on the kind, what is the edit right now? And then they also have their own editorial. Just as an example, they have the bridal style guide, which I think is very nice, and also the packing guide. So really very similar to what Net-a-Porter does, which Yoox definitely does not do. So the way I shop on the Outnet is really different to the way I would shop on Yoox. And whereas I tend to open Yoox almost every day, I would say, usually I'm searching for something very particular, it's a little bit different from the Outnet. So unless I know they hold certain brands in higher stock, which would make me open the app and search for something, I'm usually more driven by the editorials, the newsletters that they send me, which is why I also encourage you to sign up because they do announce there are some flash sales or some specials. So just to give an example, this email came recently and they tell you what new items they have, they price them, so very similar to how Net-a-Porter does it right now. You can see and shop for all just in, and then they have some super brands that they review. So when I would click on this link, I immediately see what's just in. And then of course you can apply the usual filters. So you can go by designer, for example, the top designers from this week, you can also search for them. Then you have the option to go for the color, for example, what types of fabric are you looking for? If it's a shoe size, what is the shoe size? So it works for me with the European shoe sizes, same for clothing, price ranges, and of course the categories. Another thing that they have is that they would sometimes announce their flash sales. So you can see, for example, for Valentino, they had a flash sale up to, of course, they do this for many other brands across the range. They would have some additional discounts on them. So you can also shop for that using the same filters. Right now, for example, they also have up to 75% on certain sales categories. Normally, again, it would require so much filtering, and honestly, we don't have so much time for this. Neither do you, nor do I. And also, we probably shouldn't be shopping so much. So what I would do here is I would come directly to my wish list and see if there was anything additionally discounted. You can usually tell by the lowest price for the last 30 days if there was any dramatic change. And you might decide that if you were really waiting for some item for a long time and the price is now attractive, then you could buy it. Yes, they have also this considered tag, or actually it's their considered pledge, which I don't think I've seen with any of the other luxury or high-end retailers. Here you can see that they explain that the considered pledge is actually supported by the Yoox Net-a-Porter Infinity strategy to 2030, and Infinity is designed to advance a more sustainable, circular, and inclusive fashion industry, connecting people with the joy of luxury and fashion that lasts a lifetime and beyond. And I think regardless of targets and sustainability, I think it's a good thing that we aim always to buy clothes, especially clothes that we tend to spend a lot of money on, that are really good quality, that can last us for a long time, that do not go out of fashion. Another thing that's really cool here is that they have the expert care guide. So they give you some additional information how you can take care of your clothes. I think this is so important because, like I said, we spend a lot of money on some of these things and we should know how to wash them so they last. I also personally don't always like to give my stuff to the dry cleaners, even if it says give it to the dry cleaners. First, because it feels like I have to serve the product even more. And besides the fact that I already spent a lot of money on it, I have to spend even more money on maintaining it, which of course, for some things, it's absolutely essential. Like my Max Mara coats, I would never put them in the washing machine. But I do find that a lot of cashmere that I buy, even the more expensive kind, even the Max Mara kind, you can absolutely wash in the washing machine. I feel like it cleans it better than how a dry cleaner's feeling gives me afterwards. And also, it definitely saves a lot of money on that. So now that we are in winter season, of course, you have the winter shop, so you can search directly, for example, for suits and cords. I personally love suits and cords, even though I don't always manage to buy the items that I want in that manner. But there are some really great items here. You can see where they mark just in, what just arrived to the store. So this is quite similar to Yoox. And you can see also the lowest price in the last 30 days, also to give you an indication if you're scoring a good deal or not. I also like how you can just hover over most pictures and immediately see how the model wears it, something that you can do at Yoox sometimes, but it depends on the item if they have these pictures. The main page, so the home page, changes relative to what you get in the newsletter. So depending on the theme or what they're promoting, for example, they're promoting Victoria Beckham as a designer. I think that fits now with her Netflix documentary and everything. So you can shop directly for her items, and you see there is a spotlight directly on what they are selling from her. So 548 results, which is a very decent amount of items. I have to say it's not bad. Probably we'll get the same or maybe a little bit less on Yoox. But here you can scroll through it. Once we select an item, for example, these boots, it works very similar to most other websites. So I would say it works a lot better than Yoox. Why? First, because you have a size and fit. For sure, it's not so relevant perhaps, because Yoox will also tell you whether it fits true to size or if it runs small or if it runs big. But I personally find the clothing guidance on size and fit to be quite helpful. So it's nice for me to know that this is a model wearing a that is 175 centimeters tall and wears a UK size 8. This way I can sort of reconfirm my sizing without having to hustle with receiving something, trying it on, and then having to return it. You, of course, also have the size guide, which is the same as you have it for Net-a-Porter. Exactly, for those of you who are familiar with Net-a-Porter, you know very well how this is structured. So slightly better than Yoox, also slightly different than Yoox. And then it tells you what is the equivalent in the Italian size, so for example, the designer size, and so on. Then another great thing they do is that they have promos regularly. So those promos are a little bit different than Yoox. Yoox would usually give you, for example, 25% above orders above a certain amount, like 250 euros. Here you sometimes have Sandro Drop, which is now further discounted, or you might also have some promo code where you can apply it at checkout, and then it gives you a discount for selected items on the entire basket. For those of you who like Sandro, they have some really great things. I was actually at Steffel, it's the Viennese department store, this weekend, and I had a look at Sandro, which is a brand that I used to really like a few years ago. Now I struggle with a little bit more, weirdly, because I no longer like their button details on a lot of their tweed. Let's see if I can find a good example. Okay, this one I guess is an older version because it just says Sandro, but maybe some of you are familiar with the new designs. Yes, I found it. It's right here. Yeah, I love this jacket, for example, but I know that when I would buy it, I would want to completely change the buttons. So I would have to go, for example, to Amazon, try to find fitting buttons, take it to the tailor and change it, which I think is not a bad idea. It's a good thing to do also because it gives your clothing items a more curated look. But I also know that some people say, well, if I'm paying 253 euros for a tweed jacket from a brand which is not the most premium, why do I also have to spend now some additional money on taking it, on first buying new buttons and then paying the tailor money to change it? I have to be honest and tell you that I do not shop here as often as I do on Yoox, simply because I do find more things on Yoox than I do here. But like I said, they have really great items. This is what I have, for example, now on my wish list. So I have this coat from Anna & Bing. Maybe some of you know it more for its beige version. The beige version for me, sorry, the camel version or light brown. The light brown version for me is far too similar to already 3 coats I have from the Max Mara group. So my Madame, my Manuela, and also I have a long run coat from Max & Co. So this is just too similar, but I am looking for a black coat and I thought this was nice. The price was attractive, and a friend of mine actually has the light brown or camel version and she really loves it, even though she also has the Madame, and she says she uses it quite a lot. Right now the light brown version, as you can see, sold out. I also like Joseph a lot as a brand. I find that they have really good quality and really good cuts. So I added some dresses. Now it's getting colder where I live, so I'm looking really for warmer clothes, in the sense that I am looking for cotton, cashmere, and wool materials. This skirt from Joseph as well. These pants, I like them because It's a nice cotton blend, and it feels like a nice casual yet not too casual pair of pants. You also have it in the beige version here. Definitely more summery because of the silk and cotton blend, but I still keep them. Then I'm always on the lookout for some ski pants, even though I do not ski, but just in case I need it. And I really like the idea here of having it in 2 colorways. So generally I would steer away from white ski pants, but because they are black at the back, I thought, okay, that would make sense. That could work for me. The other colors are sold out. Bajli Mishka is a brand that I've heard many good things about, especially for event wear. I don't own anything from them, but I do have to say I like their designs. That's why I also saved it here. You also have this very nice pink dress, which would be very similar to something you could get from Self Portrait, for example, or from Maye or even Sandro. This dress I really love because I am really a sucker for any piece of clothing where you have the buttons that are included, like matching the material of the actual clothing item. I just find it really hard to find such clothing items. So whenever I see it, I'm like, oh, I need to get something like this. You see, I saved it now because it sells for 97 euros, but the lowest price was for 49. So I would probably buy this for 49 euros, hoping US size 6 would fit me, because normally a US size 8 is more my thing, especially for tops. When I look at the description here, the model is wearing size 2. There is no way I could wear a size 2. But this would be definitely a dress that I would really be interested in adding to my wardrobe. It looks really great. More Anine Bing, this dress, this skirt, I actually saw the black version of it also over the weekend when I visited Steffel, the Viennese department store. I didn't try the black version on. I already have a black silk-like skirt from Arket, which I use quite a lot and I like it. So I don't need a black one, but I do definitely like this color. Max Mara also makes very nice silk dresses, skirts like this, if you're interested. Then another pair of Anine Bing shoes in a very brave color of ivory or white. Again, I don't really have the need for this. I have really great loafers from Chanel, from Hermes, from Gucci. So I just keep it in my basket, and maybe the price will drop significantly and I decide that I would like to try them out. Another Tomorrow is also a brand I heard about. I don't know anything by them yet, so I just saved them here. Theory are great for blazers and trousers, so I also hunt for them on the Outnet. There's a great selection for Theory and for Vince, both on the Outnet and on Yoox. And then some other very old items that I've had here, like Nilo Lotan pants, for example. These are jeans. They also sell Stuart Weitzman here for pretty good prices, and some more summery things, which are now simply not relevant, but I still keep them. I actually have a version of this exact place suit in orange, which I have to say, every time we go on vacation somewhere there is a beach, I use it like crazy. It's so convenient. I bought it on Yoox though, and I think it was for about 30 euros. So this lowest price of 43 is more realistic. The Outnet is definitely a great website to explore if you're looking for less selection and a real clean look. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you in the next one.